Hi, everyone. Okay, so we're back. Go ahead and enter your questions in the right chat box, and I will get to them and um, as soon as I can. Sorry. I'm just waiting for it to pop up on my screen. But yeah, go ahead and as you guys are coming, go ahead and enter your questions. It can be about the session that we just had or general questions about faith and chronic illness or living hope or whatever you have questions about. Yes, there is going to be a replay. There's going to be, everyone who is registered will be able to access the recorded version and you can share it with anyone. So don't worry, if you missed things live, don't worry about it. You will be able to view the recorded version, which you will get within 24 hours of the conference ending, if not earlier. So go ahead and enter your questions as you have them. Again, it can be about the session that we just had or living hope or faith in chronic illness or any questions that you have for me. Or I could just, Hannah says, people keep offering to pray for healing. Is it bad that I've given up on healing in this life? How should I respond to them? Good question. I got to think of my answer here. It's not, I would say keep hoping, but there's also a time when it depends on your illness. And I know that some you just have to, it's very unlikely outside of a miracle that you're going to be healed. And people don't always know what to do with that because I've had many people lay their hands over me and pray for me for healing. And none of those times did I get healed. And for me, where I was personally, I didn't mind them praying because I kept hoping, because I've actually been sick for a relatively short time, only a few years. And I know that many of you are much longer and many of you have different kinds of illnesses. And so I understand where that can be hard, and it's hard to hope. It's hard to pray for healing or have others pray for healing when you oops, I messed up my screen. Sorry. I'm still learning. When you don't think that it's going to happen. It's not, I would say keep hoping, Hannah. I know that's so hard to do and everything. It's not necessarily bad that you've given up on healing, but I would say don't underestimate God's power. I know that God hasn't healed me miraculously. That hasn't happened. People have prayed over me. They've anointed me with oil. They've laid their hands on me. They've over and over again, and I was never miraculously healed. And that's okay that you don't want. I'm sorry. I'm not doing a good job answering this question. And that's okay. But yeah, keep hoping, I'd say. You're not sinning by not by accepting that you're sick, but God is really powerful, and it's okay to keep hoping. It's okay also to be careful about your hoping and not, our hope doesn't put us to shame, but I'm particularly talking about the hope in heaven that doesn't put us to shame. And we can hope on earth. I've seen God do miracle healings. He just hasn't done it for me right now in this sickness. So yeah. And how should you respond to them? Honestly, for me, the easiest thing to do is just nod and smile. But if it's really discouraging to you to have them pray over you, you could ask if they could, you could say, I would rather not right now, or if you're good with it, I would just let them It's easier sometimes than explaining and having people like doubt your faith and everything. So I don't know. Let me know if I was at all helpful or if you have more questions. Introduce myself. Oh, hi. For those who did not see in the previous session, my name is Sara Willoughby. I'm the host of Diamonds 2019, the author of He's Making Diamonds, Teens Thoughts on Faith Through Chronic Illness. And yeah, I just taught a session on living hope and what living hope is. Quick summary, it's Jesus is our living hope, and he's, our hope is literally living. And yeah, you can watch the recorded version later to get a full explanation. How did you count it all joy when facing your worst health sufferings and pain? Oh, wow, you guys are asking really hard questions. The hardest time to have joy, I don't know if I did a good job of it. I kept trying. Like I said in the previous session, I kept trying. I kept struggling. And at some points, that's all you can do is struggle and is just keep. But you know what? Struggling means that you're still trying. It means you're still fighting. It means you're still trying to figure things out. We're going to have a few different speakers talking about joy this conference, so I think that will probably be helpful for you, Jamie. But how did I do it? The biggest thing that helped me have joy was to just to have people help me, and to keep repeating God's truth to myself, and be another thing that helps fighting counting it all joy is. Oh, okay. I think I misunderstood your question. You're not asking about joy. You're asking about how did I count it all joy is in that verse, right? Okay, I see. Well, I kept remembering that God had a purpose. So yeah, the reminding myself of his truth. He has a purpose in the pain, which we will talk about later. And I know that's really cliche, but it's also really true. Here, I kept just throwing myself on God. And sometimes all I could do was survive. I couldn't be joyful. I had joy, but I didn't feel joyful, or I had hope, but I didn't feel hopeful. And it's really hard to, sorry, losing my train of thought again. And sometimes I couldn't. And my worst, I just sobbed, and I just wrote it out. But, whenever I could, I fought to not let the lies win and not let the despair win. And whenever I got a moment of mental clarity, I would, try and repeat God's truth to myself about joy or hope or whatever it is that you're struggling. And one of them, counting it all joy when facing the worst pain and suffering, was just reminding myself that there's a purpose in this pain. So we'll be talking about that more later. I feel like I can't adequately verbalize it right now, but oops, sorry. Scrolling down to find more questions. I lost the... Okay. Do you have any practical tips on how to endure with hope when the waves just keep coming and coming and you are away from others and isolated from fellowship? Ooh, that is a really hard question. I know I said that for the last two questions, but still. Practical tips for how to endure. Something that really helped me, reminds me of hope, is I got a necklace. It was just a basic cross necklace. I'm pretending I'm holding it. That's not really. It's a basic cross necklace, but it reminded me of what was true. It reminded me that God's grace was sufficient. It reminded me of the reason for my hope. If Jesus is our living hope, which we talked about in the previous session, which you can watch recorded if you didn't catch it live, it was a reminder. It was a tangible reminder that I could literally hold on to. It was something I could literally hold on to, and just remind myself. But when the waves just keep coming, and you're separated from fellowship, that is so hard. I'm so sorry that that's where you're at. I guess I just keep bringing it to God. You can bring him all of the mess and all of the doubts and the fears and the despair, and he is not surprised by them, and he doesn't love you less, and he is there for you. And again, I would also say to you, remind yourself of his truth. Write verses where you're going to see them, and bring God your mess. You don't have human fellowship, then just bring it all to God. Ask him to remind you, and him to help you hope when you can't. But yeah, that's really hard. I'm sorry. Hopefully this conference will help encourage you, but continual waves is just, it gets to the point where it's like overwhelming, and all you can do is survive. And if all you can do is survive today, that's okay. Okay? That's okay. Because it's going, eventually, usually, there's a little bit of breather every now and then where you can, but just surviving is still glorifying God. We were created to glorify God. And if all you can do is survive, then that's okay. And just write it out, that's okay. But hold on to God. If you don't have human fellowship, use God as fellowship. If you, remind yourself of the truth, maybe tangible, something that you can hold on to. I got that necklace to remind me when things would get hard, and I would just hold it and cry, and that was okay. I hope that helps. Says, I'm Jody, been dealing with chronic illness, issues with no cures for 5 years. I deal with fear every day, and I crave for peace. I don't know how to keep going. I can't eat, sleep, malnourished, in pain. Oh, Jody, I'm so sorry. It's so hard. We're going to be talking about some of those topics that you mentioned later in this conference, fear and the diet, craving peace and sleep, and how to keep going. I don't know what to tell you. There aren't easy answers for any of these questions. But hopefully this conference can encourage you. And I want you to know that you're not alone. I don't know your specific situation, so I'm not sure what to tell you about, like your specific, I suppose you just told me your specific situation, but like specific struggles. So I don't know exactly what to tell you and to keep going, but I don't know. But and I guess that's the answer, is I don't know how to keep going. But just, it's not going to last forever. And I know that, again, that's easy for me to say, and it sounds cliche, but I'm saying that having been unable to sleep, having been unable to eat, having been so malnourished, my body was eating itself, having been unable to walk, unable to think rationally or be steady mentally. And the fear is so hard. For the fear, I think, again, the biggest thing I would say is to remind yourself of the truth. Open up your Bible and just read every verse on fear that you can find. And that it might seem like it's not doing anything at first, but just keep reading it. Even if you can do is just keep reading it and beg God for peace. And he doesn't want to leave you in fear, and he doesn't want you to have to fight this alone. So ask him for his peace. And sometimes it doesn't come. I know that seems like the non-Christian thing to say, but some of my big when I was some of my big worst moments were when I was struggling with anxiety and fear in that way, and just constant lies. I'm a burden. I'm not enough. This is never going to end. I'm a failing Christian. All of those things, and I was so afraid and so, I would just get so panicked and so um, unable to think rationally because the fear was just so much. It was so overwhelming. And so when I would pray for peace, sometimes, very few times, I did get that peace, but my mind and my body were still completely nuts. But so in my heart, even if the rest of me didn't feel peace, I would be able to feel peace that way. So just bring yourself to God. It's okay. Bring all of that, what you just said, bring all of that to God and see what He does with it. And then afterward, when you tried that, then message me via my website, and I'd be happy to talk with you further. Yeah. I'm sorry. I wish I could give more help and comfort. But yeah. Jamie says people have a hard time if they haven't walked through stuff like we have accepting that we are chum, and to stay in acceptance of God will or will not heal. Exactly. Yes. People who haven't been there, they struggle to understand it. Sometimes it's easiest to just smile and nod. And you're right. It's okay to try to surrender to God and to be in acceptance of God. This is your will be done. When you pray, God, your will be done. You don't have to. Sometimes you don't feel like when you pray for healing, you want to say, please, and accepting it. And people, you're right, Jamie. They do struggle to understand that. Jody, I'm sorry, I'm going in order, so I might be back and forth a little bit. Jody says, definitely struggle with praying and hope in general, and my faith struggles too. My brain also struggles daily to just function. Yeah, that's hard. I totally understand. I know that I usually avoid saying I understand, because I know how many people have told me they understand when they don't, and I don't really appreciate that myself, but I cautiously say it's okay. I understand, even if I know that we have each different circumstances and situations, but yeah. Jamie says, give the Job Paul heal not heal reference and state your acceptance even in not healing. Yeah, Jamie's giving great advice. Yeah. Paul prayed over and over again that his thorn would be taken away, and it wasn't. But and so Paul eventually accepted that, and that is okay. But he also prayed over and over and over again. So yeah, I would say hope, but also acceptance. Hope and acceptance can coexist. Definitely. Oh, I accidentally scrolled too far again. Jody says, oh girl, I never have joy. My body is wanting to give up. At this point, my symptoms are 24/7. So hard. I need more support. I'm so sorry that you guys are all having to face this. Joy is a hard one, but it's kind of like hope. We might not feel joy, but that doesn't mean we can't have joy. Joy isn't happiness. It isn't cheerfulness. It isn't bubbliness. And there's going to be there's a few sessions later in this conference that we're going to be talking about joy. Yeah, I would make sure that you guys get to that one, those ones. But it's okay. Joy, the great thing about joy is it's not those things that we think it is. It's not happiness. It's not bubbliness. It's not cheerfulness. It's something else. And it's okay. It's like hope, it can be there even if we don't feel it. We can have joy even if we don't feel like it. But more on that in later sessions. And you need more support. Well, Jody, I would suggest talking to, or not talking to, but coming to the relationships and chronic illness session tomorrow. And we'll talk about support networks and when you don't have a support network. Hopefully that would be helpful. And hopefully this conference can be something that can support you and that you can connect with other people who have these illnesses, so that you can have more support. But I will be praying for you. Eleanor says, what would you say to someone who thinks your illness is made up because you want pity, attention, excuses? So many people have said this to me and they don't understand what it's like. Oh, I think a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people here, not in general, but here can relate to that. My first doctor that I went to did not believe me. They just kind of thought that I was just kind of making things up. And that was really hard. And almost every person that I've talked to who has a chronic illness has said the same thing. They've had people who did not believe them. We have had family friends who said, she's just being dramatic. She's just trying to get attention. And thankfully, in those situations, I didn't mind it, but it's so hard when it's someone close to you that says it over and over and over again. And so what would I say? With those people, with the doctor, I just moved on. I just moved on to a different doctor who did believe me and who was willing to work with me and help me. And with the person, it wasn't actually me that they said it to. It was my dad. And my dad just said, thank you. And that was the end of the relationship. It was someone that we were able to just say goodbye. If it's someone that you're not able to do that with, like a family member, be polite and kind as you can, but also it's okay to stand up for yourself. And I want you to know that I very much doubt that you are making it up. And it's okay. Okay, don't believe those lies, even when other people say them. Don't believe them, even if they're said over and over again. So if possible, I would say just be polite and kind and cut off that conversation and ask not to have it again. You can agree to disagree if possible, or if necessary, if it's someone that it would be healthy to cut off the relationship. That's okay. Just do it as kindly and graciously as you possibly can. But if not, I'm not sure. I guess, yeah. Be kind as you can. Understand that they just can't understand, and stand up for yourself. To yourself, and if you can, to them, maybe they could see something from, they could talk to someone else that's not you that could validate it for you. I'm not quite sure the best way to do that, but those would be my suggestions. Oh, I'm so glad that it helped you, Charissa. Charissa, I hope I'm saying your name right. Oh, it's surviving is enough. Their survival mode, it's okay. It's okay if there's seasons where all you can do is survive, because there's going to be seasons, even if you're still sick, where I think that you're going to be able to do, figure things out more. So, yeah, like you said, you all know that chronic illness is up and down, right? It's up and down. And right now you may be down, but eventually it might go up again, and then take advantage of that opportunity and, before it goes up and down again. So it's okay if all you can do is just survive. Amanda says, when I got sick, I lost all my friends. They simply couldn't understand what I was going through, and after a while, they stopped trying to. It hurt, and now I'm constantly afraid to make connections. I am so afraid I'll lose them. I'm afraid my illness will scare them away because I'm not able to do more normal things. I'm constantly hiding my illness and the truth of how it affects me from people. Oh, that's so hard. I have been in a similar situation. When I got sick, it was okay. But then around the time when I got sicker, so that I couldn't be around people, but do normal friendship making activities like go, do whatever. Then we moved around the same time. So for me, it was a little bit more of a natural transition. But the truth is, I don't have local friends. I do have some people that I know that they are great. If you're local watching this, don't take this the wrong way. um, and I've met some wonderful people, but friends my age, I don't really have any local friends my age that, but I have a lot of friends who are online or in other places where sickness doesn't affect it as much. And we're going to again talk about this in the relationship session tomorrow. But what I would suggest is where it's hard to trust when trust has been broken. And I'm so sorry that you've had to do that. And I'm not going to just say trust blindly, because that's not always the best advice. And I would say to be very wise and cautious. But at the same time, as you've seen these other ladies who are missing support networks, when you have an opportunity, and just go little steps. And if you hit something where you're like, well, this person, I don't think they're quite going to understand, then don't bring them your hardest things. Don't bring them the biggest struggles, don't bring them things that they're not going to get. But I want everyone to look at the comments. Right now it shows that there's a bunch of people watching this video, and there are almost 300 people registered for this conference. That's a lot of people. A lot of people who want to know what it's like or how to navigate faith in the midst of chronic illness. You're not alone. And while right where you are, there may be people who are not supportive, who are not the right friends or the right support network. You're not alone. There are almost 300 people registered for this conference who are in the same thing, who want connections, who want help. And so it can be hard to trust. And I'm not going to just say go trust, because it takes healing first, and it takes the right people, and that can take a while to find. And I've gone through seasons of intense loneliness. But there are people out there. I can testify this. There are people out there who are great and who we can trust. Everyone in this chat right now, you're all in such similar boats. I'm in such similar boat, and we all want support, but we're just looking in the wrong places often, I think. At least I know that I did. I was looking in the wrong places. And so I would suggest, one of the things that helped me is finding friends that I connect with online. They live all over the world, but they're great, and they're there for me. And it took a while to find, took a little bit to find the right ones, but keep hoping in friendship too. Be careful with your heart, guard your heart, but also don't be afraid to trust when you feel God leading you to. Jody says there's not enough space to type it all out, but what I'm going through, but it seems like time is standing still in this state. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Here's the thing. Storms, tunnels, for example, let's take tunnels, I guess. Tunnels, really long, right? Let's look here, really long tunnel. And if it's We're also going to add some twists and turns because then you can't see the light in the middle. And for all you know, you could be super underground, or you could be, you don't know where in the tunnel you are. But eventually, even if there's another tunnel, there's going to be a bit of light because tunnels don't last forever and storms don't last forever. I know that that seems, right now, it's like you're just stuck in a continual cycle and continual pain. And it's just, that's where you are. But storms come, and they're going to come all throughout our lives. But they also dissipate. They also rain and storm themselves out. And eventually, we're going to be able to see the sun again. We're going to be able to see the hope. And I know that's, again, so easy to say and so hard to hold on to, especially when chronic illness lasts a really, really long time. It's chronic. But it's going to, sorry, losing my train of thought, brain fog. But things will get, this won't last forever. I'm so sorry that you guys you're in this state. I'm sorry, Jody, that you are stuck in what seems to be constant standing, or just standing still in one spot. But things are going to eventually change. 10 years here and every time. Oh, again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change tomorrow or in 2 years or whatever. Might not even change in your lifetime, but it will eventually, we have this hope. Right now we feel stuck and it's not changing and whatever, but we have this hope. And it won't put us to shame. And I know that's easy to say, hard to hold on to, but just keep fighting, okay? Just keep holding on. Just keep surviving. And we have this hope of heaven, and I can promise you that. If you have chosen to accept this salvation, you have the hope of heaven, of freedom from this. You also can have hope that it might change in your lifetime. Don't give up on that, but you have the hope of heaven. Oh, every time I thought I couldn't hold on to another second, he somehow didn't let me drown. Yeah, take it second by second if you have to. I have done that. Just take it second by second. Okay? You have to only survive right now. We're not promised tomorrow. We're just promised right now. And so yeah, hold on to fighting, to brain. Don't hold on to brain fog. Just sorry. Yeah. Eleanor says, yes, I feel like I'm always acting that I'm healthy and happy so that people will stop trying to help me or feel pitiful. They ask me how I'm doing and they expect me to be all better. Yeah, that is so hard. They expect you to be all better because it's like, yeah, so for some reason people don't quite grasp chronic illness. But yeah, that's so hard. I do bring it. Oh, I accidentally scrolled down too far again. Sorry. I'm sorry. I scrolled too far and now I've lost where I was. $20. Yeah, you're getting up there. I only had 7, I confess. It's hard. Oh dear. I think I lost where I was. So I'm just going to start where I am with these questions. And or if I can find a question. Looks like you guys are having a great conversation, so Good. That's what the chat's for. So good for that. Yes, Jamie, I'll definitely be praying for you and for your husband. That's so hard. So hard when someone you love doesn't believe you. I wish I knew what to say. I wish I knew what to help. But I don't want to just give cliche words when I'm not quite sure. However, I will definitely keep praying for you. Um, be praying for all of you, actually. Okay, so I think we have time for one last question. I just have to find one within all of your lovely conversation. Okay, I think I actually found where I was. Jody says, I do bring it to God every day. Everything just keeps getting worse. Well, good job bringing it to God. I would just say, keep doing that. That doesn't mean that you're going to physically or mentally do better. It can help, definitely. You know, this hope can help. But as you all know, you know, it doesn't automatically make it better, but it can your spiritual health is important. And so taking care of that as much as you can, even if you're just surviving. When I say just surviving, I also don't just mean physically surviving. I mean emotionally and mentally and spiritually. You know, that's okay. Just keep struggling, okay? Struggling means you're still fighting. But yes. Okay, well, we have come to the end of this Q&A. Thank you all for your great questions. And your great conversation and for encouraging each other even. It's great. So if you, oh, sorry, got distracted by your comments. If you will go to the link down below, it will take you to the next session, and you should also receive an email in the next few minutes that will also give you the link. But yep, we'll see you soon. Next, we have a great session by Pamela, who is the co-founder and president of Chronic Joy Ministry. So I'm really looking forward to hers. So see you all soon.